Have you ever wondered what would happen if every problem in society suddenly disappeared? No hunger, no disease, no predators, unlimited food, unlimited water, unlimited space. Would civilization become stronger than ever, or would it slowly destroy itself from the inside? In the 1960s, an American scientist named John B. Calhoun tried to answer that question. His experiment became one of the most famous behavioral studies ever conducted. Today, it's often called Universe 25. And although many people on the internet exaggerate what it proved, the real story is already fascinating. Calhoun wasn't trying to predict the future of humanity. He was studying how population density affects social behavior in animals. To do that, he built a special environment for mice. It was almost a paradise. The mice had constant access to food, fresh water was always available, the temperature stayed comfortable. There were no predators, no diseases, no harsh weather. Their living area was carefully designed to support thousands of mice. In theory, this should have been the perfect society. The experiment began with just 4 healthy breeding pairs, 8 mice. At first, everything happened exactly as expected. The population grew rapidly, every generation produced more offspring, the colony expanded, life seemed ideal. But after some time, something unexpected happened. The growth of the population began to slow down. Not because they ran out of food, not because they ran out of water, not because the habitat was full. There was still plenty of physical space. Instead, their social behavior started to change. As the population became denser, mice interacted with one another far more often. Conflicts became more common. Dominant males fought repeatedly. Some weaker mice were pushed away from the best nesting areas. Others stopped participating in normal social life altogether. Females began showing unusual maternal behavior. Some abandoned their nests, some became less successful at raising young. Infant survival declined. At the same time, another group of mice appeared. Calhoun called them the beautiful ones. These mice avoided conflict almost completely. They spent much of their time eating, sleeping, and grooming themselves. Their fur looked clean and healthy. They rarely had scars from fighting, but they also showed very little interest in mating, defending territory, or raising offspring. They became physically attractive, yet socially inactive. Meanwhile, aggression increased in other parts of the colony. Some animals attacked without obvious reason. Others withdrew almost completely. Normal patterns of behavior became less common. Eventually, reproduction slowed dramatically. Then it stopped altogether. The remaining mice grew older. Very few young survived to replace them. Over time, the colony disappeared. The final mouse died in 1973. At first glance, the conclusion seems obvious. Many people claim the experiment proved that comfort destroys civilization. But that's not actually what Calhoun concluded. His research was far more specific. The mice did not fail because life was easy. They failed after complex social structures broke down under extremely crowded social conditions. It's also important to understand something else. These mice were living in an artificial laboratory environment. They couldn't leave. They couldn't create new territories. They couldn't invent technology. They couldn't change their environment in meaningful ways. Humans are very different. We build cities. We develop new social rules. We communicate through language. We cooperate with strangers. We create institutions. We adapt. That's why most scientists do not believe Universe 25 predicts the future of human civilization. In fact, many researchers have criticized the way people use Calhoun's work online. Some videos claim the experiment proves modern society is doomed. Others say it explains declining birth rates or changing lifestyles. But those conclusions go far beyond what the experiment actually demonstrated. Scientists are careful about drawing direct comparisons between mice and humans. Human societies are far more complex. Our behavior is influenced by culture, education, economics, technology, politics, and individual choice. A mouse colony inside a laboratory simply cannot capture all of that. Still, Universe 25 raises important questions. How much social stress can a population handle? What happens when individuals lose meaningful social roles? How does overcrowding affect mental health and behavior? These questions remain relevant today. Modern cities continue to study the effects of population density. Psychologists study loneliness, isolation, and social connection. Urban planners think about how neighborhoods influence behavior. Calhoun's work became one piece of a much larger conversation. Perhaps the biggest lesson isn't that comfort is dangerous, it's that healthy societies depend on more than survival. Living isn't the same as thriving. Food and shelter are essential, but purpose matters too. too. Relationships matter. Community matters. A society cannot be measured only by how many individuals it supports. It also depends on how those individuals interact with one another. More than 50 years after Universe 25 ended, people are still talking about it, not because it predicted the future, but because it reminds us that survival alone is never the whole story. A successful society isn't built only on safety and abundance. It's built on meaningful connections, healthy social structures, and the ability to adapt when circumstances change. And that may be the most important lesson the mice ever taught us.